أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد
واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. I was talking about the different statements of different significant mufassirin, interpreters of Quran. So, and today is the turn talking about Surah al-Fateha and the status of Fatiha and what it contains and what it represents. So today is the turn for Shaykh at-Tabrasi and MAJMA'UL BAYAAN. His famous Tafseer, which I already said earlier, and this is considered to be the second best Tafseer among the top. So this is lesson number 38, right? 39.
39.
39. So Tafseer has said, talking about Surah al-Fateha, that when the believer I'm paraphrasing his statement in my words. When a believer watches the blessings of Allah, this is dying out. Blessings of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving us all these blessings, which are countless, looks towards his deficiencies. I think I put one eye extra. Deficiencies, nuts. We are from head to toe in our entire existence. Nuts means full of deficiencies and need. From head to toe, we are nothing but need towards the needless, which is Allah. It is only Allah who is needless of anyone or anything. We are, in our entire existence, nothing but need. Every fraction of the second that is passing by, our entire existence to survive further for the next fraction of the second stands in need of the will of Allah to come towards us for in our favor, so we can survive. Not only the sustenance, not only my eyesight, my vision, not only my power to hear, my power to move my hand, my power to move my legs, and my heart to pump and beat, not only about all these organs, even the very existence of the human being to survive is constantly in need of the needless to wish for our survival, and because of Allah's will and wish, mashiyyat, we are surviving. So He is nothing but needless. I mean, He is the only absolute needless, and we are nothing but an absolute need. So when a person, a believer, looks towards all the blessings coming from Allah and the deficiencies and need that we have, he starts to speak by mentioning His name. We should start with the name of Allah. So our scholars of philosophy say we are not a human plus need. We are actually the need. Because this statement means that we are in our absolute existence. In everything of ours we stand in need. Not just we are there and then in our existence we are no longer standing in need of towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in certain things and certain blessings we stand in need, but in the rest no. No, there is nothing in our existence at all which is self-reliant and self-independent and self-sustaining and independent and needless. The entire existence is nothing but standing in need. So it's right to say we are actually in need. So we are in need, that's so true. So when a believer pays attention to the blessings coming towards him, countless blessings, and looks towards the deficiencies and needs that the human had in his entire existence, from the beginning till the end, from the head to the toe, from the start till the end of life, spiritually speaking, physically speaking, in every aspect, he starts to speak by mentioning His name first. So that's how he starts, and he says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So conversation starts with Bismillah, and then confessing that the only blessing provider is Allah. Every blessing is coming from no one else but Allah. He is the only blessing provider. We admit and confess. A person is forced is convinced to praise the blessing provider. So this is where he ends up saying, Alhamdulillah. And this is where he ended up saying, Bismillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then Then, as he pays attention to all-inclusiveness of his blessings. Allah's blessings, certain blessings of Allah are all-inclusive, all-inclusiveness, and let me rephrase it. When he thinks about let me rephrase it. Instead of all-inclusiveness, attention to the non-ceasing blessings, blessings of Allah which do not stop, non-ceasing blessings of Allah coming from Him. He says, Rabbil Alamin. The blessings are constantly coming. Allah is the Rabb and the Lord who is raising the entire universe through providing multiple types of blessings to every existence that existence deserves to get in that frame of time, in that place. What blessing is needed for each existence to move forward towards its desired goal. This is how you raise, right? So Allah is raising the entire universe by providing the non-ceasing blessings and giving the blessings to each existence according to what it deserves. He ends up saying, Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. And then I think you can take a picture and I will.
Can you correct the spelling watch it when I read on watch it? The first line.
Yes. Thank you.
You can rewrite it.
Then realizing that in addition to raising existences, He is sustaining, providing the risk, sustenance. Lead admits to absolute mercy of Allah.
Raising the existences.
Huh?
Raising the existences.
In addition to raising the existences of the universe, Allah is the one who's also providing the sustenance for them.
Raising the
Tarbiyat, Rububiyyat. Rabb is literally, literally speaking, the lordship has a wide meaning, but yeah, so providing every marboob, every thing or person who is being raised, what that thing or that person needs in that case, at that time, in that space, for its desired advancement towards the goal of the creation. It's a very wide concept, what the things need. So your baby, when it's born, needs something. At the time when it's teething, it needs something else. At the time it grows further, it needs something else. At the time it starts, walking on the knees, crawling, it needs something else. At the time it starts walking on the feet, it needs something else. At the time it starts going to the school and meeting with friends, it needs so many other things. In every stage of our life, we need a different set of things. That's how it's a package to raise the child. It's not just one thing, you just provide the milk and you are done. No, there are so many things you have to do for a child simultaneously, and those so many change as the stages of the time pass by. Our needs are constantly changing. So it's just a small example. So the existences in the universe, in every time frame and every space where they are living, require different things in different stages of their life. And all those multitude of things are provided by the Lord of the universe. That's how the thing moves forward towards its desired goal of creation. Okay, so in addition to raising the existences, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also the one who is sustaining, providing the risk. The believer, when he looks at this, pays attention to this fact, he admits to the absolute mercy of Allah, because you see the risk is being distributed to the disbelievers, to the kafir people, munafiq, hypocrites, agnostics, atheists, those who don't even believe in Allah. But Allah did not stop providing His risk to them at any stage of their life. Did they stop receiving the risk from Allah? No. Despite the fact they don't even believe in Allah. So this is the Rahmatul Mutlaqa, absolute mercy of Allah to all the existences. So he says, when a believer pays attention to this fact, he says the next word of Fatiha is Ar-Rahman. And when the believer looks towards the mischief, rebellion, oppression, sinning of people against Allah. All this fasad, mischief is going on the face of earth. He sees Sunnatul Imhal of Allah, the formula, divine formula. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is running the universe through certain divine formulas that He made Himself, and the universe is run by Him based on those divine formulas, and His formulas never change, never bend for our ignorances. Anyone who wants to succeed should change himself and chip into the divine formulas, and he will succeed, because Allah is running the whole universe based on His formulas, which are defined in the Holy Quran. One of those formulas of Allah is Sunnatul Imhal, that He gives a chance to the oppressors for a certain duration of time based on His absolute wisdom. So Yazid kills Imam Hussein, but Yazid remains into power for next 2 years. Imam Hussein is gone. Physically, he was killed. Obviously he was martyred. So he doesn't remain. He is killed by Yazid, but Yazid remains in this world for next 2 years in the government. This is Sunnatul Imhal of Allah running. We need to understand the principles mentioned in Quran, and this is the principle which is applying in this scenario. Allah's Sunnatul Imhal is operating. So, according to Sunnatul Imhal, Allah allows certain criminals to survive for certain fixed durations of time based on His absolute wisdom, and Allah takes certain assignments through them and takes them towards certain goals. And in some cases, Allah takes revenges from one oppressor, utilizing one oppressor to take the divine revenge from another oppressor. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْتَقِمْ مِنْ ظَالِمٍ إِلَّا بِظَالِمٍ. So that's the Mazmun al-Riwayah. The Hadith teaches us that Allah doesn't take the revenge except from one oppressor except through another oppressor. So another oppressor is given the life to survive until he takes revenge from another oppressor. Allahumma aj'al al-zalimina bil-zalimin. We do the dua, oh my Lord, engage the oppressors with certain other oppressors. That's the way Allah works. So a believer sees towards the Sunnatul Imhal, despite the fact all the mischief, rebellion against God, oppression, sinning against the Creator is taking place. But he sees all that, and he also witnesses the Ghufran, forgiveness of Allah for certain people who deserve the forgiveness. The believer sees remembers. The Rahmatul Khassa, specific mercy of Allah towards the believers only. This is where the believer says Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Yeah, but Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim and Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, remember we studied as our scholars in Tafseer say that this Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim inside the text of the remaining text of Surah al-Fateha has a different meaning as compared to the Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim inside Surah Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. It has a different meaning. Remember we studied in the last lessons, maybe, I don't remember exactly, maybe 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, last lessons, one of the last lessons we studied that Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim in the later ayat has a different meaning than Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim inside Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Rahman Ar-Rahim is mentioned without any strings attached to it, in an absolute form, without any qaid, restriction or shart condition. Whereas, this is where the scholar had said, and I mentioned that this is where the scholars had said that Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of Surah al-Fatiha is the only Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim present in the beginning of surahs, which is unrestricted in its meaning. All the rest of the Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim mentioned in the beginning of the rest of the surahs of Quran, 113 surahs have Bismillah. All the rest of that means 112 surahs Bismillah which are present in the beginning of 112 surahs, all of them are restricted in their meaning. And meaning is restricted by the contents. It's restricted and related to the contents of that surah, ahead of which the Bismillah is mentioned. Whereas this Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of Surah al-Fatiha is unrestricted representation of these two names, without any qaid and shart involved in that. And this Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Ayatollah Hasan Zada's Amuli's point I mentioned in his Tafseer, Ayatollah Hasan Zada Amuri Hafizahullah had said that, and other scholars, Ayatollah Hasan Zada had said, I have a Quran where in my personal library, he talks, Ayatollah Hasan Zada says in his personal library, he has a Quran in Farsi where such and such scholar has translated Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of the rest of the surahs with a different meaning as compared to the Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of Surah al-Fatiha, which is absolute in its meaning, unrestricted. So that difference is mentioned in that Quran. And it's through this Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of Surah al-Fatiha that a person who has purification of the soul can work miracles. Because that's an absolute form. So when we say, you read Bismillah and this thing would happen, we are talking about this Bismillah of Surah al-Fatiha. We are not talking about any other Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim of any other surah which is mentioned in a restricted framework.
When we say it's unrestricted, that means the Ar-Rahman and Rahim have their meaning. But the meaning of Rahman and Rahim that we study is the same as this meaning here.
Literally it's the same meaning, yes. But in terms of tafsir, unrestricted and restricted has a huge difference, because you are restricting its application towards certain points only, whereas this Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim application is unrestricted and absolute. So this is where miracles are done through this Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You read stories of Khulafa reading Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and doing things. That is the Bismillah of Surah al-Fateha, not the Bismillah of any other surah, because the meaning is different. Reading the Bismillah with the niyat, I am reading Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of Surah Taha. Very, very good, I get the sawab. But that Bismillah is restricted in its meaning and application. So don't expect those kind of results that you would do if you have the purification of the soul, the results you are desiring to acquire through reciting the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of Surah al-Fateha, which is absolute and unrestricted. Those results cannot be achieved by any other Bismillah. So yeah, have you taken pictures? Okay. So we came up to Rahim. And then when a believer, Shaykh Tabrasi rahmatullah in MAJMA'UL BAYAAN, this is Shaykh Tabrasi, the writer of MAJMA'UL BAYAAN, second best tafsir. I already mentioned in previous several lectures, I think. Before Al-Mizan was written, his tafsir, MAJMA'UL BAYAAN, 5 volumes, 6 volumes, depends on which publisher you are getting, because different publishers also publish the books in they change the number of volumes. One book is found from one publisher in 5 volumes, the other publisher publishes the same book in 7 volumes. So that's also another issue in mentioning the volumes, because some people get confused because you don't find that publisher's book and then you don't find the reference in that the volume is not, you couldn't find it. But Shaykh Tabrasi's book MAJMA'UL BAYAAN was the volume the publisher that I had is in 5 volumes. So MAJMA'UL BAYAAN considered to be the best tafsir before Mizan was written. So he says that then when the believer pays attention towards the tajawuz, looks towards ta'addi. Tajawuz means violations. Violations performed by the human beings. Against other humans. One human violating the red lines, transgressing certain limits set by Allah, transgressing the limits against another fellow human being. He admits Yawm al-Hisab, the day of accountability. I mean, all these violations going on, and we believe in a creator who is just all knowledgeable, all wise. There has to be a day, logic says, human rationale and reasoning says, there has to be a day where these transgressions and violations would be checked, not just checked but held accountable, and justice would be served according to what the person deserves, punishment or reward. It has to be, because our Lord is just and all wise and all knowledgeable. And there's no way he can just leave all these violations like that. If he was supposed to just leave all the violations like that, then why in the world he bothered to send 124,000 prophets? Because even after sending prophets, then people violate the limits of Allah and do all these violations, they will still deserve to be, all of them need to be forgiven, and all of them needs to be sent to the paradise. Then why bother to send 124,000 prophets? Just send all of the people to paradise in the beginning, right? Without bothering to send any prophet or any message or any book or any sharia or any imam. But that's not the case. So he admits there has to be a Yawm al-Hisab, a day of judgment. Logically, the day of judgment is a logical belief, not only a Quranic belief. It's logical and narrated both. So the believer ends up saying, Maliki Yawmiddin. Allah is the owner of the day of Jaza. Day of where the aftermath of our actions will be faced by us, rewards or punishments. After this level of ma'rifat of Allah, recognition, in-depth recognition of Allah, and watching His asma, the names of Allah. We see a lot of names of Allah working every day. When the plants are growing, when the animals are born, insects, birds, fishes, angels, jinns, humans, rivers are flowing, mountains, snow, deserts, winds are blowing. So there are countless things happening every second in this universe, and all is happening under one or multiple names of Allah playing the role. So one or multiple names playing roles, and because of those names, certain things are happening, right? So somebody is receiving risk and sustenance. Name of Ar-Razik, the sustainer, is working. Somebody is subjected to illnesses, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who provides the illnesses for His wisdom. And He is the one who provides the cure based on His wisdom whenever He wishes. So other names of Allah are working in that case, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing death to certain people. Another name of Allah is working. Allah is providing, certain babies are born at the same time simultaneously. Another name of Allah is working, giving birth, hayat, life to certain people. That's all the names of Allah operating around us. When we have that ma'rifat of Allah and we start watching the names working around us and on us, the asma of Allah working, the believer sees the believer wants to worship none but Allah. After watching all this, having this ma'rifat and watching these names of Allah playing the role, he wants to worship nobody else except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is where he says, Iyyaka na'budu. It's you only You only we worship. Seeing that the treading of the path is impossible without His help. The believer says, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, and only you we seek help. That is the help from Allah only. وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. So I think we will continue the rest. It's a long still one. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى